Okay, in this video, I'll be showing you SiteCrafter version 5.14. So this is a huge update because it's now compatible with Divi 4 and also Divi 5. So let's dive in and let me show you what this covers. So first of all, before we get started, I'd like to recap what SiteCrafter is about and why it is important for anyone who wants to design websites. So first of all, it's a framework. It makes the scalability and maintainability of websites much easier in Divi, and it also promotes consistency, and this is what makes our websites look very professional. So this tool is so powerful that, once you start using it, you're going to be amazed. So let me not talk too much. Let me just show you what we can do. So as you can see here, we have a basic paragraph. I'm using Divi 5 for this example, but this also works in Divi 4. We have a basic paragraph here. So as you can see, there's no styling. I've just changed the font and that was it. So if we want to make our fonts that we have, or our text that we have right now on the screen, if you want to make it responsive and fluid, what all we have to do is while it's selected, you come over here to advanced, and then you go to CSS ID and classes, and then all you have to do is to type CK. Okay, now the moment you do that, this text now is what? It is fluid. So what else can we do here? So let's say I've selected this text here. What about the headings? So again, we have heading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So if I go in and set this to heading 1, and I'm also going to set this to heading 2 over here, and I'm just going to go through all this and just show you how amazing this is. So this is heading 4, and this is now heading 4, and then finally we have heading 5. So these are the sort of elements we use on a day-to-day basis as we're designing our websites. But as you can see, this doesn't look right. So again, like we did before, you want to make sure that this is selected, and then you'd come over here to advanced, CSS ID and classes, and then over here you just add your SK. Now, do you see that the heading, the text has all now increased in size? Now, this text here is fully fluid and responsive. There is no need now to go into these areas here with the tablet and then specify the size, and then go into the phone and specify the size. There's no need to do that anymore because everything here is all set and it's set correctly. So let me show you something that we can also do with SiteCrafter. So for example, let's say you want to make a notice out of this. You select it, and then you come over here, CSS ID and classes, and then we just say notice, just like that, and now that becomes a notice. So at any point in your website as you're designing, if you want to add a notice, or maybe it's a warning, you type it over here like that, and that's your warning. Isn't that amazing? Okay, so you may be wondering, well, Mac, where are you getting all these things from, because how do we know what to enter? Well, I thought about this. And for those of you that have already purchased a SiteCrafter, we have this page called Framework. Now, as you can see, it has a lot more features. So here we have our responsive text. So all you need to worry about here when you come to this page is to remember as much as you can all this, the text which is in bold. So for example, here we have text align. All you need to do is to type right or center. So for example, let's say I want to text align my text here. I'll come over here, copy that. And let's say I want to center this. I'll just come over here to advanced ID and classes. And then I will just hit paste, and then now it's centered. So you may be thinking, well, Mac, why can't we just head over to design, text, and center it here? Well, it's the same thing, but here's the thing now, and this is something that you need to separate between presets and also working with SiteCrafter. So let's say you have 10 places on your website where you've centered your text using the manual way, where you go into to the tab itself, and then you specifically center things. And there's 10 items you've done that. Can you imagine how many times you have to go in, click? Let's say you want to remove the centering. You would need to go into each and every item and remove it one by one, and that will take you more time. Whereas over here, all I have to do, if I need to remove the center, I'll just come over here, and then I'll just get rid of center over here, just like that. And now it's gone. So if you know that you have 10 places on your website that have the center added, you can just go in and remove it, and pretty much you're good to go. Now, there's also other features here which I think you'll find very interesting. So if I add a new column here, so once you've added your column, let's say you want to add a few things in here, and that is, say, blurbs. So let's add 3 blurbs. So that's 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let's say with these 3 blurbs here, you really want to use Flexbox because you don't want to use these columns. So again, what you do is you click on the rows, you'd come over here, and then you'd go to Advanced, ID and Classes, and then you just type Flexbox. Okay, now do you see that? Now this is Flexbox, everything is all centered and everything is looking good. So you may be thinking, well, but Mac, is this responsive? Well, let's take a look at that. So if I click here, you can see there it's responsive, all your spaces are in good place, and everything looks perfect. Okay, and again, even if I go smaller to the phone, again, everything looks really, really nice. So let's take this a step further. Let's say you want to add some padding around things. Well, again, you can go in and do padding manually. For example, I would come over here, and then I'll go to design, and I'll go to spacing, and then I'll start adding my padding. Now, again, with the padding, if you're a designer, if you use pixels, pixels don't scale very well. So you probably go for rem, or you go for em, or you maybe want to go for VH, or percentages. Now, as a new designer, that's going to be crazy. But anyway, for this example, let's use 2 rems. Okay, we're going to add this all around like that. 2 rem. Okay, so now I've added spacing around this. Now, for us to really see what is happening, why don't we add a background color? Oops. Okay, can I move myself out of the way here? Yes, I can. Okay, so now let's add our background color. So let's say this is going to be our background color. This is just for testing purposes only. Okay, right. In fact, this one is better. All right, so we have our background color, we have our padding. That looks great. But here's an easier thing. If I now were to, again, use SiteCrafter, I would come over here and I would say, okay, padding, what do we have for padding? So I know fluid padding, boom, it's right here. So there's padding small, padding medium, padding large, and so on. Okay, great. So I'm going to go with padding small, okay, because I'm working on a small area. So now, if I select this blurb right here, I'll go to Advanced, CSS ID and Classes, and then I will enter my padding small, just like that. Now, do you see how easy this is going to be for me to just go on to the next one like that, and then just add my padding? So quickly as that, and then now I can go in and add my color. So let me just put myself out of the way here and add my color. There we go. So at any point, let's say I want to change that padding and make it bigger. I would just go back to, in fact, making sure that I'm selected here. I would come over here to Advanced, ID and Classes, and then instead of small, I'm going to go for medium. Okay, so do you see now how quickly and easy it is for me to enter this? So you may be thinking, well, what happens now when we take a look at this in different views? So if you look at the top one, so it's not too different, but everything is scaling very well. You see that? So everything is working fine. So let's say down the line, maybe 5 months later, you want to come back to the website and make a few changes. Well, it's very, very easy. All you have to do is to come over here and change it right here. So this could be small, maybe, and that's done. Now, if you had, let's say, 5 places that had padding added in manually, you would now have to go in again. You'd look for your option here. So you'd go to Design, Spacing, and then you start making your changes over here like that. If you want to increase it and so on. But now you have to do this on each and every single item. So as you can see, just by doing that, your productivity is going to be decreased because there's a lot of clicking going on. And if you have a huge website, you can imagine this is going to be really, really crazy. Okay, so moving on, I've shown you how to do this Flexbox, and it is very, very easy to do. Now, another thing that we often use most of the time is our sections. Okay, so again, we updated this. So on the sections now, if you go to ID and Classes, we have different sizes, and these section sizes are also fluid and responsive. Okay, so let's start with that. So we're going to add hero section. There you go. So our spacing now has been added, both top and bottom. If you want to go for large section, it's a bit smaller. So it's large. So you can see there, large section, and there's also medium section, and there's also small section, because as you're designing, there's areas on your site where the section padding doesn't have to be that big. Okay, sometimes it's just small because you have less information. Maybe it's one of those sections which has your companies that you've worked with. It doesn't have to be huge like that. So by using this, it just makes the whole process much easier. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is something that is very important in design, and that is margins. So as we design our websites, margins are very important. Now, let me show you what I mean. So let's say I want to work on my spacing here. If you were to work with default spacing, okay, it's a very big problem, because now you're going to have a website that has spacing that is not very consistent. So when we talk about spacing, it has to be done using a spacing scale. And if you're a UI designer, you probably know this. There's a spacing scale that you use when you space things on your website. So you would space things closer together for those things that are related. Okay, so let's say this one here is going to be a notice. Okay, so that we just distinguish this. Okay, so I'm just going to say notice. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go into this one. Okay, we can even go on the top one, doesn't matter. So I'm going to come over here to advanced CSS ID and classes, and now I'm going to start adding my spacing. So I'm going to go with margin dash top, and then for this I'm going to say medium. Okay, oops, margin top dash medium. Right, so now you can see I've added my spacing there. But for this one here, because these are closely related, because they're the same color, my margin is going to be different. So I'm going to come over here and say margin top, and then I'm going to say small. Okay, now do you see how as you're designing your website, throughout your whole website, if your spacing is that precise, you are going to have consistency throughout the whole website, and it's going to make your website look much better. Because oftentimes when we design, everything is random. We don't even know how much padding we have, how much spacing we have. But by using this, I mean, this really changes everything. This also applies to padding. Now, I could go through each and every item here, but as you can see, I'm sure you can see that we have a lot of features here that have use cases that are fantastic. So we have fluid margins, fluid padding, we have fluid sections, we have border radius, we also have shadows. So if I wanted to add a shadow, I'll just come over here, take a look. So there's shadow medium. I can just copy that shadow medium, and I can apply it pretty much to to anything. So let's say I want to add it to this one right here. I'm going to go to module settings, advanced, and then I can just add shadow medium. Now look at that. My shadow now has been added, and it's very subtle. If I want to go for a large shadow, I can just go and say shadow large, and then there's also extra large and so on. So this is a quick way of designing a website, which is also very consistent. Now let's take a look and see why this process of designing is very important. So as I mentioned, everything is scalable. You don't have to now go into tablets and then make adjustments here and then go into your phone. As you can see, even the text here, it's adjusting, and it's fluid. Okay, there's no breakpoints that you need to worry about. You just do it once and everything just goes. I mean, look at all these headings here. Everything has been updated. So if you want to build websites super fast, consistent, and also websites which are easier to scale, then the SiteCrafter framework is very powerful. Okay, so the other feature, of course, this was already there, but the other feature that I want to talk about here is the fact that when you install this, we have opacity here, we have custom headings as well. If you want to create, let's say, a page, which let's say it's a marketing page, and you don't really want to use H1, H2, H3 everywhere. You also have your custom headings here. All you have to say is heading large, heading extra large, heading XX large, and pretty much you are good to go. So this page here is very important as a reference. It's going to be /framework after you install. Okay, great. So now that we've spoken about this, the next thing I want to talk about is over here. I'm going to go to dashboard. I'm going to leave this. Should I save it? Okay, let's just save this. Okay, great. So now I'm going to come over here to dashboard and we're going to go all the way to appearance. No, we need to go to theme builder. Okay, so over here on the theme builder, all this is done for you as well. So if you take a look at all your posts, your 404 page, your author pages, your category page, your blog page, and so on, all that is created for you. Okay, now let me show you where that is. So I'm going to go to visit site. So if I now come to the blog, you notice that everything is all set up for you. Okay. So if I go to Hello World, you notice that we have this beautiful design, and this is your submit area. But what you may need to do now, because I haven't applied the framework onto this, because just in case you want to add your own spacing, I've left it out like that because this is going to be used as a starting point to every single project that you are working on. So this is how you would go in and start fixing things. So let's say there's a page that doesn't exist. There's also a 404 page. Again, I've left it like that because I want you to go in and do all the spacing yourself so that you can apply your own spacing system. But pretty much we have everything that we need to get our website started. Okay, now let's talk about the installation, because the installation here is very, very important. So when it comes to, in fact, where I am, okay, I'm right here. So this is our basic Divi website. So let me just log in and Mac, and then this is my password. Okay, so if I go in now and log in, you're going to notice that it's just a basic WordPress website. Okay, so let me just open this in a new tab, and you can see there's nothing going on. This is a brand new WordPress website. Okay, so if we want to install SiteCrafter, the first thing we need to do is to install Divi 4. Now this is the new process. So we come over here to themes, add new, and then we're going to click on upload, choose file, and we're going to head over now to our downloads where we have Divi. Okay, and I'm going to say open and then install. Okay, so let's go ahead and activate. Right, so here I can log in and activate my license. Should I do that? Okay, let's just continue on without doing that because I want to save time. All right, so now that I have this, the next step now is to install SiteCrafter. So I'm going to come over here to plugins, add new plugin. So with add new plugin here, this is what it looks like when you download the file. So I'm going to double click here and it opens up a new folder. Okay, so what you want to do now is to open this folder like that, and then you have install SiteCrafter 5.1.4. Okay, now keep an eye on that. What I'm going to do now is to click on upload, and then I'm just going to drag and drop this one here like that. Click on install now. I'm going to activate the plugin, and then all the way down here, I'm going to click on Open SiteCrafter, and that's our new logo, by the way. I'm going to scroll all the way down and click on Import. Okay, now this doesn't take very long. And by the way, we also have our default plugins here, which, you know, could be very helpful if you are designing a brand new website from scratch. So this will save you a lot of time. So there's Rank Math for SEO. We also have Independent Analytics for basic analytics, and we also have Fluent Forms for your forms, Fluent Auth for security, and so on. All right, so everything looks like it has been installed. So let's double check and see if that has worked. I'm going to say visit site, and sure enough, everything has been installed. You can see now we have a footer here, we have a header, and everything is looking great. All right, so if we now come over here to Divi 4 dashboard, you can now go to appearance and then click on customize. So this is where you want to come in and adjust your colors. So if you wanted to change colors, this is where you'd come in and change your colors. So I'm going to go now to layout settings. So you'd add your primary color here, your secondary color here, and for your fonts, you want to come over here and add your fonts once and for all. So at the moment we have Inter, which is a basic font, which you can use. I mean, in fact, you can continue using this if you wanted to. That's pretty cool. Okay, right. So that's where you'd go and make those changes. And the next step now, let me just close out of here. The next step now is to take a look at our pages. So if I go to pages, all pages, we should see our framework page. As you can see here, I'm going to open this in a new tab, and pretty much this is what we had when I was doing my demo. And this also tells you about the framework, SiteCrafter 514, and the width is going to be 1366 and 1 rem equals 10 pixels. Okay, so we have our fluid text here, uppercase, lowercase, and so on. I'm not going to go through this because we've already done that. Okay, so it doesn't mean that just because you installed the plugin that everything has been installed. The next step now is to go in and install the actual framework, because remember, I mentioned that when you install, the new way is to install the plugin first, and now we have the framework. So let me show you how to install the framework. Okay, so to install the framework, what you want to do is to head over to Divi, and then you want to go to theme options. Okay, so here on theme options, you want to click on these two little arrows here, like that. Oops, you want to click here, and then you want to click on import. And then the next step now is to just drag and drop SiteCrafter here, the framework, onto here. You click on import. Excellent. So now our framework has been imported. For those of you who are wondering what the framework is, basically it's all this CSS here. Okay, so this is what really runs the framework. So at any point, if you feel like, oh, you know what, margin top is 1.5 rem, I want to change it to 2, you can just come over here and change it, and across the whole website it's completely updates. So this is why using a design system like this is very, very important. So there's a bunch of them here. We also have our headings. So let's say you want to increase your heading size. You can increase it from 3.5 rem to 4 rem, for example, and your maximum here, it's at 6 rem. You can change it to 7, 8, or whatever you want. So this is the framework that's running pretty much everything. Okay, so now that we have this, all you have to do now is to click on save. Okay, now it's saved. So we can now start designing our website. So let's go to our main page. So you can see now things are close together. It's not looking very good. So what you want to do now is to start by entering the builder here. And we're going to start here with the very first thing here, which is our text. And as you can see here, we have our paragraph. I'll come over here to advanced, CSS ID and classes, and I'm just going to say SK. Now, do you see how it's become very big? I'm going to save that. Next, we have our button here, advanced, ID and classes, and I'm going to say margin top, and let's make this large. Okay, medium. Okay, so as you can see, everything is taking shape. Now, this is done on Divi 4, okay? But some of you are probably thinking, well, you know what? I want to work on Divi 5, and it's fine too. Here's what you need to do if you want to upgrade this to Divi 5. So what you want to do is, let me just save this, okay? And then I'm just going to exit out of here, save and exit. Okay, so I'm going to go to dashboard. Then we're going to come over here to Divi, and then we're going to go to theme options. Okay, so this is Divi 4. Now, to upgrade this to Divi 5, what you want to do is to come over here to Appearance, and then we're going to go to Themes, Add New, Upload, Choose File. So I have Divi 5 here. I want to click on Open, Install Now. Now, bear with me because the next step I'm going to show you is also fantastic, because you can actually use SiteCrafter on old websites or websites that you've already designed, okay? So now I'm going to say Replace Active with Uploaded. So I'm going to click on that. So you can see here, active is Divi 4, and then the other one is Divi 5. Okay, so now that I've clicked on that, the next step now is to head over to Divi, and then we're going to go to dashboard. Okay, so here on the dashboard, I need to migrate to Divi 5. So if you click on migrate this site, and then it's showing me everything here. So it looks like I have check marks pretty much across everything, which is very, very good. So I'm going to say migrate site to Divi 5. I'm going to confirm that, and it looks like everything has gone well. It says congratulations, your migrated website blah 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 is now on Divi 5. So let's head over back. Just going to visit the site and edit with Divi. So now you can see we are now in Divi 5. How do I know that? Well, the UI has changed. So now we're in Divi 5, and we can continue designing our website using our framework, because remember, it's already installed. So if I wanted to come over here and perhaps add a background color first. Let's add our background color so you can see what's happening. So let's say that's our background color, and I want to change my spacing. I can just say hero section. Do you see that? I mean, it just went bigger. And now if I create another regular section with a bunch of text like that. If now we head over and click on tablet, you can see that everything is working okay. Great. So now this text here is our main text across the whole website. And you may find it annoying that every single time you're going to go in here, go to advanced CSS class and ID, and then you want to put XSK to make it all fluid. So what you could do is while you have this all selected, you can then come over here and create a new preset from current styles. Okay, so let me just move this out of the way. So let's go to our preset settings. So now we can call this preset main dash text. Okay, assign as default and then save preset. Right, so what we've done here is huge, because if I now come in and add text, guess what? It's now going to be automatically fluid. Okay, and let's say I want to add a heading and I want to set this to heading 3. It's all fluid. This is how amazing SiteCrafter is. I mean, it's just going to make the process of designing websites much easier. So now that I have this, let's say at some point you want to go in and adjust the sizes. You adjust the size in the framework once and then it updates pretty much across the whole website. That is how powerful this is. So if you're designing websites, I mean, this is huge. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and save. Now let's find a layout that has already been designed. So I'm going to come over here. In fact, you know what? I always like using this builder with admin bar because it makes it easier for me to find where I am and if I need to go back. All right, so I'm going to come back over here and say page. Right, so now that I have this, I'm going to click on use Divi builder. Oh, in fact, you know what? We could use these pre-made sites from Elegant Themes, couldn't we? Let's go to dashboard. Let's leave this. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here to Divi and then we're going to go to dashboard. So this will be an example of, let's say, someone who has already say designed a website, or you want to use some of these Divi quick sites. So you'd come over here. All right, so it wants me to log in. I was hoping that it wouldn't ask me, but anyway, let's go to my authenticator app here and I am going to use 915-890 890. Okay. All right. So we're in. So as you can see, we have pre-made starter sites, and also you can generate with AI, but I'm going to go ahead and use the starter site. So this is going to override pretty much everything that I've already gone in and created. So let's use this one here. I'm going to click with start with online store, and this is going to be my site here. And for now, I'm going to leave WooCommerce and click on generate and publish my site. Now, the reason why I removed WooCommerce is because I don't want this process to be long, because WooCommerce is a big plugin. So this is just for demo purposes only. Okay, so now let's click on view my site, and you can see that this is the new site. Okay, so let's say there was no framework installed here. What you then do is to come to your old website or your Divi website that you've already created and you want to use the framework on, and all you have to do is to come over here to theme options. Okay, so with theme options, the next step now is, remember you had that file, and the file is this one right here, the SiteCrafter framework. You would go ahead and install that by coming over here to these two arrows, click import, and then you can just import it. So this imports the framework only. Okay, the framework only. So once you've imported it, that means that you can use it now on this site. So let's enable with Divi. Now what you'll find is, as you're designing this, there are certain things that might not work well, because for example here we have all these presets that are already done. So ideally you want to go in and reset all these presets, get rid of them, and then start afresh. So let's say I click on add new preset, so you can see it has jumped to the basic one. So it's not selected to the old ones that we had here, or the ones that were created before. So now with that, I can now go in and say what? SK. Okay, right. So with that now, I have to save. Oops, this guy is in the way. So first of all, I need to save this. Okay, so with that saved now, I can say SK, and that will update. and then I'll come over here, and then I'm going to check as well what is happening. And here I can see I have main text, so this one here has already updated. So with that selected, let's say I want to adjust my spacing. I can then go in and say margin top, small, or I can say large. Oops. Now sometimes you may find that nothing is happening here. That is because the chances are it has been hard coded. So if you want to come over here to spacing, you can just reset it over here and pretty much it updates. So you can now easily go in and start using your framework. Okay, so this one here is margin top, and then it's going to be large. And again, I want to check the spacing, and you can see here there's padding, there's also margins here. So you just want to make sure that everything is clear here before you go in and add your framework. But that is how you would go in and add this to an existing website. Now, what I've done ahead of time as well is, if you take a look here on Divi University, I've gone ahead and created this page which shows you how to install. So we have our step 1, step 2, step 3 on how to install this, and then I'm also going to add some videos here on how to install it on SiteCrafter 4, how to install it on SiteCrafter 5, and how to install it on its existing websites. So I know this has taken a bit of time for me to put SiteCrafter 5.1.4 together. This is mainly because, I was torn between satisfying the people that want me to move this with Divi 5, and also I felt like I was leaving everyone behind as well on Divi 4, because sometimes I forget that I'm working on Divi 5 Alpha, so I'm expecting it to work perfectly, but then I have to remind myself that we're working with Alpha. But this is going to continue to be developed, and hopefully we're going to be in a position where we have one standalone installer for Divi 4 as we have right now, and there's also going to be one standalone installer for Divi 5, which is what we're heading to at the moment. I think once Divi 5 has been released, we're out of beta, then we'll be in a position to have this installation of the SiteCrafter design system. So as you can see, I hope you can see the benefits of using SiteCrafter, and for every single one of you that have purchased SiteCrafter, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You have made this journey really, really easy. And also, as you can see, I'm now wearing glasses. This is something that I didn't have before. I've been having migraines, and also my eyes has been hurting, but it seems like everything has now stabilized. So thank you very much for your patience and also for understanding. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Let me know your feedback in the comments box below. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.